didn't go to the theme parks and stayed here for the 3 o'clock session. Yay, us!
All right.
You had enough IP yet?
All things IP.
All right, we're going to get started. There might be some people coming in from the hall. I'm Jody Miller. I'm with the NDC4 Cable Commission and Town Square Television in the suburbs of St. Paul, Minnesota. And we have 3 excellent speakers with us today, and we're hoping to lighten it up a little bit now and talk about the toys and the gadgets and the apps after talking about policy and a lot of the regulatory implications throughout the first part of the day. And I did want to take a moment, I don't think we've officially done it yet, and to thank all the sponsors of our conference. And we do appreciate all of you for being here and helping us to make the conference happen. And it is listed in your program, but I am going to mention Comcast, CenturyLink, Google Fiber, Kissinger and Fellman, the NCTA, CTC, the Baller Herbst Law Group, LiveU, and BB&K. Thank you very much for your support, and they do have tables out in the hall, and I do really encourage you to stop by and say hello and talk with the people, because they're really coming here to spend some time to meet and have conversations with us, and that is a great part of the conference. I'm going to give you some short bios, and then each of our presenters have a brief presentation for us. Our topic here is how IP enables local government services. And so we want to talk more about some interesting and helpful tools that are being put in place, kind of bringing together the nexus between the technology and the innovation and things that are important in local government and in the community work that we do. Our first speaker will be Tony. Tony Perez is the director of Seattle Office of Cable Communications. For those of you who weren't here earlier this morning, what are we counting now, Joanne and Tony? 70-some hours before Tony takes over as president of the NATOA board. 72 and a half. Joanne is down to minutes. Tony's office negotiates cable franchise renewals and transfers, regulates cable operators in the city of Seattle, administers the Cable Customer Bill of Rights, and provides expert analysis of cable, telecom, and broadband legislation and policy for their elected officials. I know he is particularly proud of helping to conceive and write the long-term strategic goal adopted by the Seattle Task Force on Telecommunications Innovation. And he also mentioned that he enjoys being a seeing eye human for his blind dog, Brady. And after Tony, we will have Pete Meadows. Pete is down at the end. He's the Regional Director of External Affairs representing AT&T for 8 counties in I believe in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Mm-hmm. And interesting, he's currently working with AT&T as in the external affairs and I assume intergovernmental affairs area, but he, in his earlier days of his career, he was a sales specialist in e-business sales, promoting advanced internet services and products. So I know that he has some background with talking about the gadgets and the apps. And then Gail Roper will be our third speaker, and she is the Chief Information and Community Relations Officer for the city of Raleigh, North Carolina. And I won't say how many years of experience, but she is very skilled and experienced in her field. Seasoned veteran, yes, that's what we like to say. I started when I was 2. And she started when she was 2. And Gail's worked in both the public and private sectors, and I thought it was very interesting. She served as the Chief Information Officer for the cities of Kansas City, Missouri, and Austin, Texas, before coming to Raleigh. So if you follow that pattern, you can see that she's done some really good things in the communities where she's worked before. And I know that Raleigh is going to be one of the award recipients this week for a community broadband award from NATOA. So continuing her good work there. So with that, Tony's going to go first, and do you want to switch seats, and then he can be in the driver's seat?
All right, and like Jody mentioned, it's the end of the day. We're going to keep this light and fast-paced, and it's more of a little bit of a show and tell. No deep dive into policy, regulation, law, things like that. But in Seattle, a couple of years ago, we realized that we weren't paying enough attention to the mobile space. So, and may have even been falling behind some innovative cities like Boston, Chicago, San Francisco, and of course we couldn't let that happen just because we pride ourselves as being a center of technology, software, innovation, and so forth. So we've dedicated more resources to our mobile strategy, and here's our increased usage over the last 3 years or so. We're finding that more and more people are beginning to rely on their mobile devices, smartphones, and tablets to access important government services. And that is a real challenge for us. I'll say one thing that 96.5% of the data that flows is from either an iOS device or an Android device. Microsoft is one of our biggest employers and largest companies, and they also have some innovative Windows based smartphones, but so far there hasn't been a compelling level of usage on that platform that would motivate us to start writing native apps for Windows based phones. But maybe that'll change, we hope. So kind of the big picture, we're developing both native apps and web apps. And for some of you who are wondering, what's the difference? A native app is an application that's specifically designed for a given operating system or a given device, whether it's Android or iOS and so forth. And a web app is actually easier to do. It's less expensive. You can bring it faster to market, but sometimes it may not be as robust as a native app, and it will lack some of the functionality. So one of the advantages too of a native app, it can take advantage of a lot of the features on your device, like a camera, a map, other things that may or may not be the case with a web app. So again, I was looking at device management, standards for the use of devices and the city enterprise. We have many mobile employees with various needs. Access, we have hackathons and web content managing system. How do we deal with all this? How many have hackathons in their community? That's great. If you don't know what a hackathon is, it's where a group of programmers, code writers come together, and sometimes it's all week, sometimes it's a couple of days, and it's kind of a digital brainstorming session where you develop a specific application or other applications. We've had one specific for the city of Seattle where we've asked developers to work on the open data that we're making available to the community. And we're getting lots of great ideas from that. It's just a wonderful way to leverage the intellectual capital in your community and apply it to new web-based services. So we have developed a suite of native apps. I'll go into just a little more detail, kind of a find it fix-it pictures of potholes, things like that, with geo coordinates and so forth. Many other cities are using that, and Key Arena is one of our main sporting and concert events. So there's a mobile app for finding out what's there. The Seattle Libraries now using it. You can check out books. Pretty soon they'll be also streaming video to mobile devices from the library, Seattle Travelers, other things. Here's the Travelers app. What's really interesting about this is that we're getting about 50 more people using this, every day with very, very little notification on the part of the city. So there's a real interest from people wanting to know about traffic tie-ups. Seattle's notorious for its traffic. And so we're getting a lot of traffic over the traffic app, no pun intended. The Find It, Fix It, I mentioned, people are using it to report things like abandoned vehicles, graffiti, potholes, other things like that. I should mention that in our department, the Department of Information Technology, we've dedicated 1.5 FTE to the development of our mobile apps and our mobile strategies. Some of the larger utility departments, we have a wastewater, sewage, garbage utility. They have about 1/2 FTE working on theirs, and our electric utility has about at least a 1/2 FTE working on that. So together in the city is probably closer to 3, or maybe even, if I ask around, maybe even 4 people that are devoting their energies to our mobile strategy. One of the apps that we're working on now that we're really excited about, which is a natural intersection of IP and PEG programming, is developing a mobile app for our PEG channel, the Seattle channel. Our public access network actually led the way and developed a mobile app that is now available on a Roku device, and we're hopeful that it'll eventually, when the Apple TV device is opened for developers, that they'll be able to place it, and we'll be able to place it there too. We think that more and more people are just becoming very comfortable with using tablets to experience video, and we think it's really important for Seattle to position itself to provide local government, cultural, and arts programming across multiple platforms in a way that's very accessible to people. So this is in trial right now, but we expect to have it up and running in about a month or so. And I encourage anyone who might be thinking about this to just give me a call, and I'll put you in touch with our people, and they can talk to you about what's involved in putting something like this together. Some web apps are primarily used by our utilities. You can pay your bill, report an outage. I also wanted to include any issues with graffiti on telecommunications infrastructure, things like that. So we're very proud of this application too. And again, we felt that we had some catching up to do, so we keep focusing on the opportunities that mobile apps present to the city. Our next step, like I mentioned, we're going to finish testing and deploying the Seattle Channel app as soon as we can. We're working on developing neighborhood-centric apps, like you're in a certain neighborhood. Where's the nearest park? Where's the nearest neighborhood service center? Nearest library? Directions? How do I get there? So forth. Design standards for the library, and keep working and developing our web-based content management systems so that we can have a really robust web presence that people will just intuitively gravitate to. And we're getting a lot of really good feedback from the community. I think several of the speakers have mentioned it earlier. After a while, your residents begin to expect these things. So I urge you to, if you haven't developed a mobile strategy, or if you're not dedicating sufficient resources to it, that you work with NATOA and get in touch with other people that are working on these issues. That's one of the great benefits of being part of the NATOA family. That if you want to, if you feel you're behind, and if you want to implement some of these solutions in your community, take advantage of the resources that are here to help you do that. Thanks.
All right, good job, Tony. Thank you. Now let's see if we can get Pete's presentation up here. Yeah, we can switch.
Okay.
That's fine. I'll be the chair.
The chairman.
You know, like at the Oscars, when someone has to fill in the empty chairs, I'll be the chair warmer. So, for those of you who came in late, congratulations for staying for the last session of the afternoon. Woo! This is Pete Meadows with AT&T.
Thank you, Jody. And I know that the day is drawing to an end, and people are tired and standing between everybody going out on City Walk and touring and enjoying the hot weather. So I'm always told to be on point and be brief. And so that's what I will stick to, and make sure that we stay on time and get you out of here at a convenient time. But thank you. I've enjoyed the conversation today about this transformation of IP, because it's coming. It is coming. And so we need to be prepared for it. And I just want to take you through a few of the applications that we're innovating here at AT&T. First thing I want to mention is that we do have an AT&T Foundry. We have several foundries, and what they're also called are innovation centers, where we invite developers in to come and sit, and we open up our network and allow them to develop these next generation type solutions. So we're very excited about that. But I want to start off, first of all, by talking about 5 major technologies that's really pushing this convergence to IP. If you think about it, broadband everywhere. I remember when we first started getting broadband. How many people remember where we can get broadband from? It's either from work or from home. You really didn't have too many options. But now we expect broadband at our coffee house. We expect it at the library. We expect it at the stadium. We expect to have broadband everywhere. The next big thing was ubiquitous wireless. We want wireless service, and we want wireless service everywhere. And so that's what we're demanding. And then having the ability to access through multiple devices. You think about it. Now we can get wireless. We used to be able to get it from a desktop, and that was it. Now we get wireless through tablets, through netbooks, through smartphones, and all different types of smartphones. And then the ability to delayer open network IT platforms. We want to be able to go in there as cities and municipalities. You sit on a wealth of information. We need to be able to open up that information and get it out to consumers. And I think that's what's drawing this push to an IP network. It's the common protocol that helps link all this together. I call it the common denominator. You know, like when you're adding or subtracting fractions, you got to have a common denominator to put it all together. That's what the IP network does. Next thing I really want to talk, and I'm going to go through this quickly, is the network convergence. If you think about the networks of the past, when you had video, you had a coax or a satellite. You had to have a network for that. And then for your data, you had frame relay ATM backbone and your IP backbone. Then for voice, you had your public switch telephone network. Then wireless, you had a mobile telephone switching office, which is a different type of infrastructure. Now today, we're able to take all that traffic and put it over an IP network. So you can see the synergy. and the effectiveness of being able to transport all those different types of information and technologies over one backbone, allow you to be more efficient, have better capabilities, and I think it brings about a lot of innovation, which we're going to see. I was talking to somebody about change, and I said, you think we got a lot of innovation going on now? Wait 5 years from now. I had the opportunity to see some of the stuff in our lab, and it just blows my mind what's coming out in the next 5 years. Our vision here at AT&T is really to mobilize a world that works for people. We want to make sure that we're investing in our infrastructure so it can help mobilize people and allow them to be more effective. And we feel that our investment in 4G LTE, in the IP infrastructure, and in cloud computing will impact every industry. I don't care what you do. You will come across these type of technologies in your business in some capacity. Connecting virtually everything regardless of device or location. We talked about the Internet of Things, and we're seeing that now. We were talking about that just earlier, connecting your refrigerator, your house. We're working on a project called Connected Cars, where we're putting connectivity in your cars. Imagine this, you're driving home in your car, you pull up in the driveway, it knows based off the GPS and everything that you're in your driveway, it automatically lets up your garage door opener, it opens your door so you carrying your laptop and stuff, you don't have to fumble with the door lock. As you walk in, it turns on the lights. Not only it turns on the light, it takes the music that was in your car and it transfers it to the home stereo system, so you're still listening to the radio that you were listening to in your car. Things like that are coming, people. And this IP network enables all of those things. And so all of this is really for the benefit of the customers. And we're so excited about what's taking place. But really the consumers are driving this change. I want to talk about now a few particular apps that we have in development. And this is one that we developed for a housing inspector field unit. It's for an emergency service housing inspector unit. In the past, they had a web-based legacy application they were using, as well as a paper-based process. So you can see now you have two different processes that you're using to collect information. And so they wanted to streamline that, and they also had a lot of duplicate data entry. So we said, let's leapfrog both of those processes, put it on an Android tablet, and now we're able to streamline that process. And think how efficient now you can be when you're going out in the field with this laptop, that you can take information and you're now much more effective in terms of interfacing with your constituents or your customers. And I think that's a big bonus of going mobile, is now your image of your city has now improved, because now they see you as being reliable and they see you as being responsive. And so now you have a good image in terms of the way you interact with your constituents. The next one I want to talk about is our application. Our city came to us because they had another web-based interface where, in case of emergency, go to this website. Well, you know, emergency can happen any place, anytime, anywhere. And this is really an important application. I think it will become more important as we go in the future. We just talked about a shooting that took place today in D.C. Now, imagine if everybody tried to go to that website. Well, they found out their website was getting overwhelmed. Well, with this particular application, now we're able to push out notification. Emergency flooding going on out west. I-95 is shut down. Here's the alternate route. So now you're getting up-to-date information. And as we all know, in terms of emergency, information is very key. Accurate and timely information is very important. And so this application helps to get out accurate, timely information. And this is one we designed for a city, and they actually posted on their website now to please download this application for all their citizens. The next one is our AT&T Community Central. It's kind of like your application you had for your city of Seattle. It allows you to report non-emergency problems such as potholes, code enforcement type issues, broken street light. And this is a pre-configured application, which means that you can actually say, hey, AT&T, we would like to get this application for our city. So you don't have to put the man hours into developing and the resource and the staff into developing your own application. We have this application pre-configured, ready to go, and I don't need to go through it. I think Tony kind of talked about it when he talked about the city of Seattle, but it allows you to find parks and recreation information. You can find information about council agenda, as well as you get to report problems. And so, great application. And like I said, it's pre-configured, and you can just get that right from us and integrate right to your city. And the last one is our city utilities. I often laugh about this one because I remember growing up, I didn't care about the light bill or walking out and leaving the air on. But as a parent now and having to pay those bills, I do care a little bit more about our utility usage. But a city came to us and they had an old, antiquated mechanical type metering system. They said, we want to change that. We want to have better control and be able to manage our power operations. And so we came up with a smart grid solution that was connected to our wireless network. And so now it allows citizens to maintain control over their power bill, as well as the cities to be able to connect and disconnect service remotely. So you see the savings that it provides for the city, and they're thrilled about this particular smart meter application. You're seeing more and more smart meter applications being rolled out in the city, but this is one application that we have and we developed for a particular city that's in use today. And this is a little self-serving, I call it a brag slide, but I hope you don't mind. But when we talk about these mobile innovations, you got to make sure you have that infrastructure in place to deliver on that. And so I'm proud to say we have one of the largest 4G networks available, and faster is better. I know you've seen our cute commercials about Queen My Dishes, Please, the little kids. I think that's the cutest commercial. But faster is better, and people want and people expect faster service. And we have the latest devices, whether it's the Android phones or the new iPhone 5C and 5S is coming out. Voice and data, this is not new to us. We've been doing this over 100 years, and certified experts, we have some very, very bright individuals that can help you design solutions to fit all of your needs. So, I know I've been speaking fast, but I know it's the end of the day and I don't want anybody to fall asleep on me. So, in wrapping up, we talk about change, and one of the things that change constantly is technology. It is rapidly changing. And so consumers continue to demand new services and innovation. And so in order to provide these new services and innovation, we must continue to build and upgrade our infrastructure. That's why at AT&T, we're in the process now of what we call our Project VIP. We're putting billions of dollars in the next 3 years to improve our infrastructure, to make sure we have that robust network to deliver on these next generation services. And here's the thing I want you to walk away with. We're committed to working with our local officials to expand an enhanced network by implementing sound policies. We're not the enemy. We want to work with local officials, and we want to partner with local officials. That's one of the things that when it came time to this IP transition, we actually petitioned the FCC to say, hey, let us do a trial, and let's sit down with all the players, and let's work through some of the concerns and issues, because we know there will be concerns and issues transitioning over to an IP network. But we want to work through that for the good of all those involved. And so if there's anything I leave with you, I hope you take that away. That we're here to be a partner, and we're here to work through those issues, and we understand there are some issues, but we think there's some great innovative products that will come about by this transformation of IP. But I know I moved quickly, but I thank you for your time, and I guess now I'll pass it to back to Jody, and
all right. Thank you, Pete.
All right. Take the view.
All right.
Save money and help us serve citizens better. You'll have a wide audience.
Thank you. Okay. We're doing well on time, so hopefully we will have time for some questions, and I need to switch over to Gail's presentation now. Okay, help me out here. This one? See, I have my sister's cheaters. I'm not old enough to need cheaters, but these are my sister's cheaters. I heard that.
Okay, I'm Gail Roper from the city of Raleigh. And the first thing I wanted to say, could you just go back? I wanted to kind of show off I wanted to show off this graphic because it depicts our downtown area, and it really says a lot about Raleigh. Raleigh is a very fast-growing city, region actually, and we are probably one of the faster-growing regions in the country. If you're familiar with the Research Triangle Park, we're close to the Research Triangle Park. We have both Citrix and Red Hat in our downtown area. And it's very much an entrepreneurial city where we are experiencing lots of development, lots of growth. We're somewhat diminished by the downed economy, but definitely we're not as other parts of the country. Part of my job as Chief Information and Community Relations Officer, I have IT, Human Resources, and our Community Service Organization. And part of my job was to take IT out of the data center and into the community. So we look at IT as an enabler for the community. Some of the things that we do around that, we have youth programs. We have one youth program in particular that you can find if you go to YouTube called Raleigh Digital Connectors. And it's where we actually go into a classroom in our teen center in Raleigh that is equipped with telepresence, with Cisco telepresence. And we teach youth twice a week for the school year about technology, how to use technology, how to better their lives with technology. At the end of that period, they have a graduation session, and we award them a laptop for them to take to school. So basically, the mentality in Raleigh is to use technology as an enabler. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the programs that we have in place based on IT. So we look at this and we know that our citizenry expects, it is the new norm for them to be connected. So we have Wi-Fi in our downtown area in partnership with our Downtown Alliance. We know too that, how many of you sleep with your phone near you?
My daughters
In the
do.
bed.
You know, which I've stopped doing that, but I still think I hear it at night. And if you look at these stats, and these stats were from the Pew Research Institute, where it talks about, wanting to be connected all the time. We have a high demand from our constituency for connectivity. So basically, we're moving away from just having one-sided relationships with our community to having ways to interface with them at all times, 24/7. So as far as our web group goes, we've moved to what we call responsive web pages. So most of the applications that we run from our system today is available on your mobile device. We subscribe to a citizen-centered approach to web development. So that means that we do things when we're developing applications like the column layouts. We minimize text entries so that it can be visible and readable on mobile devices. And some of the highest ranked sites that we see our citizens access are street closures, road races, our bus detours, crime statistics, and then also our UPC codes for bus schedules. The little icon on the right is City of Raleigh is number 3 from the Center for Digital Government for the best of the web. We were number 3 last year, and we were beat out this year by Austin. So we're still striving. So I'm going to talk a little bit about, I think we talked about My Seattle. Well, this is My Raleigh. And ideation is a way for our citizens to actually submit ideas to our city. So basically, we try to couch those ideas around various topics. And what you see here, this is the web page. And what you can see here is where citizens are asked for innovative ideas. At one point, we were having what they call a data palooza, which is similar to a programming weekend or a programming camp where individuals come in and use raw data to develop applications, and we encourage them to develop applications for city use. But this is an area where we ask our citizenry what data sets they would like to see available to them when we had the Data Palooza. So we host those. We host City Camp, and I mentioned the Data Palooza, and then we take the students that we work with to those various weekend sessions so that they begin to understand the value of data. I can say that I feel like, we talked about the digital divide quite a bit today, and part of it is the lack of access, but the other part is lack of information, lack of access to information. So what we're trying to do is to expose them to data and help them to understand how data can help you to make very good decisions. The other idea option that we had here on this screen was for our Unified Development Ordinance, and that's our plan for city growth for the next 20 years. We actually asked our citizens what they would like to see in that development ordinance, and then we used a product called Limehouse for them to build it, and then we used our My Raleigh section for them to add input on things that they were interested, like related to streets, sidewalks, driveways, those kinds of things. Here you will see our videos. So we're basically using how-to videos. We're using videos to both impact the permitting process. So if we have a video out that says, you should get a permit if you're going to build a deck, and then we give the citizen some ideas of what the permit will require, it really does lessen the number of individuals that will go and build a deck without a permit. So we're using it to diminish some of the situations that we have with the permitting process. We also have videos out there that our sustainability office has put out there to instruct people on using the electric charging stations that we have throughout the city. And finally, our departments are using IP and video conferencing to communicate training. So you'll see here, the fire department has their physical training program on video, so you can use that to do your physical training. And then we also have satellite offices that use video to communicate. So our water utility department may have 10 or 12 different satellite offices, and so in the morning they actually use video to check in, and the director has conversations with his staff out in the field. This is our IMAP. So IMAP is our GIS version of mapping for the city that is available through mobile devices, and is available both on your desktop and on mobile devices. The IMAPs will allow you to go in and actually see what day your trash is picked up. You can use it to basically find your home by address and zip code, and find out information on areas around your home, like where the libraries are, where the schools are, those kinds of things. We use WebSense to actually look at the number of hits that we get on site, so we know how to prioritize our website. And what you'll see on our website, on the front of our website, is that we basically put up front what is most utilized by our citizenry, and it changes at times when there are certain things going on in the city. So our solid waste services changed our trash days, and then you'll see a heightened level of access to that area, so we changed that out based on what our citizens are looking for. And then finally, this is a sustainability map. So basically, this sustainability map has an area where it will give you all of our charging stations, our rainwater harvesting systems, and we brought gamification into our website. So basically, what we're doing is we're using a product that was developed by an entrepreneur in Raleigh called Juliebug. And Juliebug is gamification. It actually allows individuals to use it like a game. So basically they do walking tours, and with those walking tours there are CP codes that will give information about certain areas. So it may be an electric charging station, so it would give information to students and citizens and visitors about particular areas and why we're using LEEDs lighting. So basically, you gain points and badges by playing the Juliebug, and then we have kind of a Juliebug spin-offs where people come in and actually use the product to do historical information about the city of Raleigh. But one of our main goals for our website is to do more gamification as a tool for education and for tourism in our area. And this is our open Raleigh portal. So basically, this is where we're doing all of our open data sets. So we have data sets out there associated with our budget, with crime, with our permitting data, and the raw data sets are out there. We're using Socrata as our portal, and those data sets are out there for citizen consumption. And I will tell you that in our region, it is a required necessity for city government to be transparent. And this is a part of that effort. But we also talk about it as a tool to citizens to help them get the information that they need to make decisions. One of the funny stories I tell is the day that the data portal went live, I was at home and I started going in there playing around with it, and I went into my IT budget and realized I hadn't had an increased budget in like 4 years, and I thought, there's something wrong with this. So basically, the open data portal is growing. We are starting to make it a regional approach, so we're actually working with our county and several cities in the area to start to share data and information, because many times citizens don't know whether it's city data, county data, or state data. So we're starting to build it from a jurisdictional standpoint. And that heat map there actually shows it was fire stations and the number of fires in certain areas. It gives us an opportunity to do some public education when we know where the density of issues are in the city. And then I'm trying to go fast because I know you guys are tired. And then this last one is the initiative that we will receive an award for, I think tomorrow, and it is a broadband initiative. We actually have a Plan A and a Plan B. The Plan A is a collaborative model where we are actually working with Raleigh and several jurisdictions, several universities under the GigU umbrella to do a next generation high-speed broadband initiative in our region. So we are absolutely focused on regional initiatives and not doing things by city. You can find the NC Engine at www.ncengine.net, and it will give you all the information. I had the opportunity to put in 125 miles of fiber with our traffic signal network, and part of that fiber has been offered up as a potential asset to build out this network. The Plan B part of our broadband initiative, our fiber initiative, is actually to serve ourselves. So we have a cost-benefit analysis on the fiber. We're just serving our own city buildings that will be a savings of about $400,000 a year in terms of moving away from being reliant on our incumbents. So, we're hoping to realize that we're still working through some issues. We'll be moving to design our network to be a carrier class network. And the core of our network, we have done a lot to do to help to make it more efficient, put in carrier packet transport in the core of our network so that we're utilizing the fiber that we have more efficiently.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. We do have a little time for questions, and I'll give the parting announcements first, because then that way we'll be ready to roll. I know we have a session at 4:30 for first-time conference attendees, so if this is your first NATOA conference, and even if it's not, you're welcome to attend. You will get to meet staff, chapter chairs, and board members who you can get familiar with some of our faces, so we can help you have a really great week here, and you'll get some inside secret tips on how to make the conference as productive as possible for yourself. And then we have affinity dinners this evening for anyone who would like to go out to dinner with a group of people and chat about a particular topic, although I'm sure we will wander off course on that. But there are 4 different topics, and they are franchise renewal, broadband, legislative and legal, and I believe PEG and production. And so if you're interested in that, I think you could talk to Tanya and Jen at the registration desk and let us know. And we'll be getting together, I suppose, around 6 o'clock and heading out for those. So let's go ahead. If anyone has questions, please come forward to the mic. I know I was thinking I'll do one while we're waiting for people to walk up. our members have all different ranges of budgets, and I thought it was really interesting. Tony in Seattle has people developing apps in-house, and Pete, you mentioned it sounds like there's some things that are available in sort of a template format that someone could probably get pricing from you on what we could do. And also, I'm thinking some of us have cable commissions where we have groups of cities that are all different sizes, and some of us even just have a part-time IT staff. But perhaps we could start thinking of ourselves in that role of helping our cities who have very limited IT resources to work together. So let's just have all three of you address maybe some options for how did you decide, whether to try to do it yourself, Tony, or to contract out, and Gail and Pete, anything on that?
I think, in our case, we found that there's just a lot of software talent in our area, and a lot of people that have been doing web for a long time, and just seemed like a natural extension of what we did. So we were able, in some cases, to leverage cable franchise fees to support the activity of our mobile web designers. And one thing I wanted to point out, too, is just kind of the natural evolution, too, of how we in government have used technology to communicate with residents. It was the PEG piece, and then in the late 90s, we all felt we have to have a web presence, and now I think you have to move to, you have to have a mobile presence, too, if you want to reach particularly the younger people, 30 and under. A lot of them are not using a PC or a television, they're using their smartphone, and that's where you have to have them.
So there are a couple of things that I would say that has helped us to drive down cost. One would be the use of open systems. We passed an ordinance a couple of years ago that makes us an open data city. So basically, we've used Unix, of course, in our city for a long time, but with Red Hat right down the street, we're looking to do more of that. One of the things that we've been able to do to solve problems is to utilize applications that are built in open data formats across the country. So as an example, we had a situation with our fire hydrants and the maintenance on our fire hydrants, and came up with a situation where we had a dry fire hydrant, and we adopted a Adopt a Fire Hydrant program that was built by Code for America. So I would say to look for reliable applications that are built in forums like Code for America and city camps across the country, and adopt those. And it's in place in our city now. And, we are hoping to build, we did one for bicycles in our greenway that was adopted by another city. So those are open and available to anybody that would like to use them. The other thing that I'd like to say is to begin to look at jurisdictional partnerships. So we have a jurisdiction that is running their own cable company, a fiber to the home cable company, and basically what we're doing is partnering with them. So basically for some minimal design work and for core drilling, I will buy entered into an MOU to buy my fiber from their warehouse rather than having to go out on open market for that. And we were able to do that because it is a nonprofit, and we were able to partner with our attorneys and their attorneys to develop a strategy. So I think there are lots of ways now to kind of look at how you're procuring services and equipment and those kinds of things, and look at cooperatives.
Good point. For us, we serve a lot of municipalities because of the network, and so we're already in there serving, and we've actually had a number of cities and come to us and say, hey, we've got this issue, can you guys assist us with it? Tell you one of the benefits of that, we're able to put together like these pre-packaged applications, and I think it's a great thing for city, because what we're finding out is it's just not your city that this is unique to. Other cities have the same needs, and so we're able to design a package, put it together, and then offer it to other cities as well, and so that saves you the cost of really trying to develop all these applications. So.
Yeah.
Great.
I was going to say perhaps it might make sense too. We have a number of committees in the TOA and even subcommittees that work on a number of things. And if we found that there was sufficient interest in helping cities develop their mobile strategy, that maybe that's an idea we should take into consideration.
Good point.
Great. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate you waiting for your chance to ask your question.
No problem. Actually, the thing I want to speak about is what you just talked about. My name's Hunter George. I'm from the Rainier Communications Commission. We're located in Pierce County, Washington. We're 30 miles south of Tony. I also grew up in Raleigh, and so I'm excited so we're aware of what Tony's doing. I'm excited to hear about what my hometown has been up to. Actually, rather than a question, I wanted to offer something that's working for us in this arena as well. The University of Washington has a branch campus in Tacoma, UW Tacoma, and they have an Institute of Technology. We've worked out a mobile app internship with them. And so I wanted to suggest that to folks in the room that we've dedicated a GIS manager to oversee this program. We've created 8 apps in the last 2 years. We have 2 interns who come in every 6 months. And they end up, they're getting great jobs. Again, we're in a market where we've got Facebook and Google and Amazon, and they're all hiring like crazy. We're giving them job experience, and in exchange, we're getting something that our citizens or our staff can use. We're building internal apps and external apps. So I wanted to share that folks might have some cheap labor, a source of cheap labor.
I think that's a great idea, and I mentioned our AT&T Foundry and Innovation Center. One of our latest innovation centers is in Atlanta on the campus of Georgia Tech. And so you know the bright individuals that you have sitting there on that campus that are able to come up with some great ideas. And so it's a good point.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi, Javier Figueroa with City of University Place in Washington. Yes. And with Hunter there with the Rainier's Communications Commission. I have 2 questions for Pete. Mm-hmm. One is, you were here when there was a conversation about the last resort provider. I'd like to know how you feel as a provider about leaving a community without any resource for telecommunications or communications at all, and what is AT&T's policy, and what's your AT&T's take on allowing that to happen. Number 2 is you talk about the for cities not having to go through the cost of putting together the applications that you talked about, but you didn't talk about if there's a cost from AT&T and putting that together. So if you can give us some insight to both.
Okay. All right, let me talk about the carrier of last resort, and I'm going to be careful around this particular arena. We want to provide service. I don't want you to get the impression that we don't want to provide service. But here's, I think, the question has been for us, is we want to make sure that we can provide it via other technologies if available. We don't want to be stuck with saying we have to provide a landline-based type service, simply because of the business infrastructure. You know, the number of users on landline service is going down. The cost to maintain that landline service is going up, and so we want to have the option to be able to make sure we provide service to individuals. We don't want to leave anybody behind, but we do want to have the ability to offer those services through other technology and through other means, wireless being one of those. I think 97% of the people have some type of coverage now, whether it's cable, wireless, or landline available at their needs. So we invite more conversation on that. That's why I said one of the things we're doing with the FCC through our transition to IP, we're sitting down, we're going through the process, we're looking at taking the concerns from the industry, and we're seeing, okay, what type of products and services can we have that can meet the needs of individuals out there in the marketplace. And we want to make sure we have the right mix of products and services that will fulfill all of their needs, that will make sure it takes into account their security systems and things of that nature. And so we're working through that process. I don't say we have all the answers today, but we're working through that process. But we do want to have the option to leave that open to allow us to be able to serve through maybe some other technology other than just a land-based system. The second part was the application. I think the question was the cost of that application to be able to provide it. Rephrase that for me again. I'm sorry. I know it was a...
You talked about cost savings to the city by utilizing AT&T's method or process for putting together a package of apps that may enhance their needs. But you didn't talk about if there was a cost and what that may be.
Oh, yeah, there is a particular cost, but I tell you what, their cost, and I don't know the exact cost of those applications, but I know that cost is reduced simply because we've already put together the work to develop that application, if you will. So now someone else who asked for that particular application, that cost is reduced. So they don't have to go through all the initial investment of programming and configuring and doing all of those other things. So the cost is reduced. I couldn't give you an actual cost figure if that's what you're looking for in terms of.
Well, it would be nice. That gets down to the rubber meeting the road here, and that is maybe not a specific dollar amount, but for instance, what would be the application you're talking about, or application or package? What would be the average cost for a city of 50,000 or 30,000 versus 100,000, and what would be their cost if they try to put that together, and what will be the percentage of savings utilizing AT&T's? Just at least kind of give us an idea, and if you can provide that, maybe you can get it to shoot.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you can give me your information, because I would have to go back to our government sales team. They have that information. Unfortunately, I'm not one of on the sales side, but I'll be glad to get your information and get that information back to you.
Well, we'll be here for a whole week, so maybe in one of the sessions you can comment on that. That would be great. And just getting back, because he didn't really answer the first question, okay? And I can understand why, but it is quite important. Again, I wasn't talking about an individual. I'm talking about a community. And I think it is the responsibility of providers. Providers such as yourself, meaning AT&T, grab onto federal laws like the Telecommunications Act and other laws to utilize rights-of-ways, pennies on the dollar, for the purpose of providing facilities and internet, cable to various rural areas and other areas. So I believe that to abandon a community, something's really wrong, and there was quite a bit of discussion, as you saw earlier, on that. And you're the only provider here right now that I can ask that question. And I really would like to know how in the world can a huge provider like yourself not have a policy on being to allow the last resort provider mentality in the day's age where technology, you're talking about leaving a community without any communication. It's just like blocking a road and say you can't get to the emergency room because we blocked the road and we're not going to provide one. If a government said that to you, you would probably say, I'm losing money here. You got to open it up. I really would like to know I can't believe that a big company like yours does not have a policy in place on that. And if you don't, I really challenge you to do so.
Thank you. Thanks for your comments. I know this is not the last conversation that we'll be having about that topic throughout the week, and I think we'll have other providers here, and we'll be continuing to talk about that on other panels. Again, aren't you all glad you stayed for this last hour of the day? Wasn't this just a really great panel?
And I want to say, as you proceed throughout the week, we've had a lot of IP today, and we heard a lot of the legal, regulatory, policy challenges, but one of the things we need to remember why this whole broadband and IP issue is important to local governments is that it creates tremendous opportunities for us as well. And it really provides a way for you to harness the collective ingenuity in your community to arrive at new ways to serve your residents and citizens and institutions. So keep that in mind as we progress through the week. Thanks.
I really want to thank our speakers, and I was going to say especially Pete and Gail, but not
Yeah, you don't have to say.
nothing personal, but Tony had to be here anyway. But Pete and Gail for traveling to our conference and putting on for being with us for this hour. I think they really did a great job. Thanks, all three of you.